This is Hino's Sport, bringing you that heat and fart. We keeping the foot on the whoop, the eggs. We keeping the foot on the whoop, the eggs. And like the Tibetan Mastiff that I am, no, like the Tibetan Mastiff that I am, and number 3 for confirmation. Like the Tibetan Mastiff that I am, I'm applying whoop, unlimited pressure, unlimited pressure, unlimited pressure. Cause pressure does what? Cause pressure does what? Cause pressure does what? It bursts pipes. It bursts pipes. It bursts fucking pipes. When it's all said and done, LeBron James is not the player you guys think that he is. LeBron James, in the heart of hearts, is really a epic fucking Lefailure. LeBron James owes Chris Bosh, man, who's inducted into the Hall of Fame, all of his NBA fucking titles. Chris Bosh is highly underrated, man. People don't understand how dominant Chris Bosh is. Chris Bosh has basically changed the landscape on how LeBron James picks pairings of who LeBron James plays with. When you look at Anthony Davis, you see the legacy of Chris Bosh. Woo! What I said was so deep and profound. Let me let that marinate the corpus callosum and in the cerebellum. So hear me? Hear me? Fucking well. When you look at Chris Bosh, you see his legacy in Anthony Davis. Anthony Davis is a swooped up version of a fucking Chris Bosh. When we sit here and look at Anthony Davis, we see the Chris Bosh lifeline. We see the pick and pops. We see the athleticism. We see the rebounding ability. We see the ability to put the ball on the floor. We see the ability to have that footwork. We see the ability to dominate your opponent. We see the ability to be unstoppable. This is what Chris Bosh was. Chris Bosh has saved LeBron James so many fucking rabbit ass fucking times when it comes to this stuff. Don't take my word for it, man. You will understand why Chris Bosh is the catalyst. If you go look at a stat line with Chris Bosh in the lineup with the Miami Heat, see, if you're not a basketball casual, you understand this. Even versus with Dwayne Wade, Chris Bosh in the lineup with LeBron James, Chris Bosh in the lineup with Dwayne Wade, Chris Bosh in any fucking lineup, Chris Bosh is the dominant fucking player. He makes the in terms of the positive from an offensive standpoint blow out of fucking water. You know why? Because this guy was just that dominant. He affected your stat sheet that much. Do you understand how much of a nightmare Chris Bosh was for opposing coaches? Joakim Noah admitted so many times that he was afraid of Chris Bosh. He had to bend the proverbial fucking knee because as great of a defensive player as he was, he couldn't guard Chris Bosh. Kevin Garnett said once he lost his defensive legs, Chris Bosh made him look like fucking jelly. And even when he was on top of his defensive game, Chris Bosh was putting it to his ass. It was like they were going back and forth. One time he'll shut down Chris Bosh. One time Chris Bosh would lock his fucking ass. One time Chris Bosh would lash his fucking ass up. But once he lost his defensive legs, Chris Bosh was playing around with him like it was a fucking video game. Paul Gasol alluded to this. Tim Duncan alluded to this. Chris Bosh has saved LeBron James, man. Those years that LeBron James played in the Miami Heat, why do you think he had the highest field goal percentage? Why do you think LeBron James was able to virtually do whatever he wanted? Why do you think that Miami Heat team, outside of LeBron James' failures, was dominant? It was because of Chris Bosh, man. This is what you're getting now with Anthony Davis, the same lifeline. Anthony Davis is reciprocating what Chris Bosh fucking did. But Anthony Davis is a swooped up version of that. So when we look at LeBron James, his career is nothing but a Lefailure because it was contingent upon other people's greatness personification. It was contingent upon other people's greatness. It was contingent upon what other people did. It was contingent upon how other people performed, not what LeBron James did. And if people are being honest with themselves and they're not being biased and they're using what we call the true basketball eye test, they would know this. This is why LeBron James' career is nothing but an epic Lefailure. Because LeBron didn't do this shit off the strength of himself. He did it off of the strength of others, man. Why do you think LeBron James always wants to stack the card to the fucking deck? It's because LeBron James is a player that has to do that. His free throw game is atrocious. He shoots errant shots. He's an isolation player that burns the clock up. He's not a coach's dream. His IQ is the opposite of what people say it is. LeBron is not that fucking bright on the basketball court. Because if he was, he wouldn't be an abysmal 4 for 10 NBA Finals averager and performer. That's under 50%. To be in the upper echelon of the pantheon of greatness, you have to have a 50 percentile of NBA Finals averager and performer or higher. And he's at 40. So what's great about that? What's highly IQ about that? It just tells me that this guy doesn't know how to play the game the right fucking way. It shows you that the LeBron James way of playing basketball is la Rudy Poo and la fucking la plum plum brain. It's la classic though and fucking la troglodyte. It's la ultra fanboy with the la ultra fanboy la rhetoric. When it's all said and done, we have to ask ourselves the delineation. We have to ask ourselves the distinction in a golf here. What is that? LeBron James is not what you guys think that he is. He's an epic fucking Lefailure. This is what LeBron is at his truest and his most properest level. The funny part about it is LeBron knows this about himself. But he has used the 27th law of power. He has used neuro-linguistic programming. He has used LBJ Riders Media, LBJ Brigade, LBJ Apologists, and LBJ Stance because they are participation award era recipients at his disposal to brain full of mush them, brainwash them, and thereby turn them into what we call la fucking la dodo heads. And because of that, he's been able to dwarf their fucking brains or la dwarf it to the point to where they fucking la apologize for this guy, to the point to where they make la concessions for this guy, to the point to where they're able to make what we would say la excuses for this guy. LeBron James is nothing but a la collusion. LeBron James is nothing but a la aberration. LeBron James is nothing but what we would say a la accident that's waiting to la fucking la happen. He's not a greatest of all time, man. He's a greatest of all trolls. He knows this about himself. But what he's been able to do in knowing this truth about himself, or this la truth, he's been able to dwarf and dupe your fucking brain into believing he is everything that he is not, which is an epic la failure. Because when you're peeling the layers of the onion, you're asking yourself these underlying questions, the underlying truths, and you're not a basketball casual, and you really use what's called the true basketball eye test, you know LeBron James is not true. He's not Transformers, dog. He's not more than meets the eyes. He's actually fucking la bullshit. That's the cold-hearted. That's the unadulterated. That's the cutthroat true telefaction. I keeps the foot on the whoop on the X. I keeps the foot on the whoop on the X. This is He Knows the Sport. Check it out.